as she said, I am Kimberly Provine, and I want to just share my story. I created Ohm LLC out of um, a request from many, many people. Some of my backstory is, as a small child in a walker, I fell down a stucco staircase and had to go to the emergency room. So I started my life with brain injuries, and that proceeded with chronic headaches, which turned into, more concussions, migraines, you name it. I mean, I was always sick. Fast forward into the teen years, I was even more toxic and sick. You get stress. And I got diagnosed with IBS. I was diagnosed with migraines. Early 20s, you get the asthma, you get the allergies, you get the food sensitivities, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you name it. I was toxic. In and around the wheel of pharmaceutical motivation. The doctor at one point told me, you need to go get on a preventative medication, one more medication besides the side effects. And it was going to cause me to speak gibberish, not know if I'm coming or going. And at this point, I'm in, late 20s, single parent, many kids, chasing crazy. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. I will live with the pain. Find out from an occupational therapist, potential food allergies. I'm like, whatever, food allergies, no big deal. I can skip an egg once in a while. Turns out it's much bigger than that. Our biology is much bigger than that, which caused a rabbit hole I had no idea I was even going to go down. Purging myself from food, processed foods, certain chemicals and all these other things. I'm no longer in the pharmaceutical industry. I haven't taken a prescription medication since 2005. As Laura alluded to, I have a lot of energy. I'm trying to rein it in right now because I'm so excited to share even more about my life and my family and why I do this. Being a mom, I have 4 kids. My husband has 2. Together we're the Brady bunch. 2 of mine are married. The ones that are married also have 2 children each. So we have a very, very large, very busy, very colorful family. One of my children, Morgan, she's my muse for this Ohm LLC. She struggles with a lot of learning disabilities, mental health disabilities. She was diagnosed at 14, having ADHD and severe dyslexia. She has less than 10% phonic capacity in her brain. And when she was at school at De La Salle at Christmas, they said she failed every class because she has an attitude. I'm like, that's not an attitude. I'm driving her. She loves this. She is, and with that, she struggles. She struggled with that. She ended up tapping into self-medicating, trying to figure herself out because now she's feeling worthless. She's feeling not worthy. Fast forward into her late teens, early 20s, she's only 23. She also suffers with anorexia and body dysmorphia. And that proceeded with a lot of addiction issues. She's in and out of recovery, in and out of the Emily program, Melrose Center, Beauterre down in Owatonna. A lot of hospital visits. Once I found out that there's an option for her, my other son, who's the research scientist out in California, he's a disabled Air Force veteran with traumatic brain injury himself, said, hey, Mom, have you ever thought about CBD for Morgan? There's some research going on about this. And I was like, what are you talking about? What is CBD? I don't know, acronyms. I don't understand. He's like, well, I just heard about something. And I went, okay, let's check it out. This is before medical marijuana was even in the state of Minnesota. So I started thinking about it and started doing a little Google research, start talking to people. Nobody has a clue. No one knows anything what CBD is, what all this is. How do you get it? What do you do? What is it? What's the difference? And so that's that's one of the pieces that I got started on. And I'm going to go here. So for 2021, I created Ohm LLC. Morgan helped me create this. I've found other people also doing this. So, but right after I started it, I became an advocate. I became a certified advocate, meaning I want to create a place of conversation. I want to hold this to a higher standard than some of the mass media and some politicians are in their mindset, that it is, a bad plant. Marijuana and hemp are separate. They're, a natural process, a weed basically that grows on our planet. And I delving in, I've done some certificate completions. I know more about this plant than I should, let's put it that way. I also have some other certificates of health coaching. Here we go, the endocannabinoid system. It's you hear it sometimes in the media as the ECS. It is was recently discovered in the 90s, kind of by accident. They really didn't know what they were looking for or that it even existed. But our body has receptors, and they're little cannabinoid receptors. Our body doesn't make cannabinoids, but our body has chemicals that activate when these receptors are stimulated, and they are literally all over our body, but they are extremely small. Where the receptors for, let's say, the opioids or the alcohol or the other triggers that other people are addicted to are much larger receptors in our body, so they were easily found by the medical community. I won't go into, the medical details, but this is a really good diagram that this system, the doctors are alluding to the fact that it's kind of our motherboard of the computer, or for our body. It regulates all of our other systems. So that's why it's so beneficial, and we don't even have the babyest knowledge of what it all really does. So how it works, our bodies produce these cannabinoids. They're, again, they're a receptor in there that regulates our brain, our muscles, our pretty much everything, emotion, thinking, appetite, and what they do when you're struggling with anxiety and thoughts. And our body goes into the stress mode, this is what kind of calms us all down, puts us into homeostasis. So if we're having pain, our body's looking for some way to calm that pain down, and the endocannabinoids are one of the triggers that calm it down. And that's why CBD is known now as one of the benefits. I'm gonna go to my next slide here. There's our little body. Okay, gotta go here. This is the one that I like because it has the more pictures here. Again, I mentioned earlier, CBD is not marijuana. Most of the CBD that we have currently in the United States is coming from hemp, which is legal in all states. There was a farm bill that was processed, I think, in 2008. I don't remember the exact date, but hemp we have in plastic, fabric. Suzanne mentioned that earlier too, with, there's a lot of products that hemp can be beneficial for, not for internal bodies as well. But it's one of those really kind of cool things. But if you notice some of those other pictures on there, coffee, chocolate, citrus are also being recognized as an endocannabinoid food. Those are also things that stimulate a similar response in our body. When you're stressed, if you want to drink some coffee, you feel good. CBD kind of does the same thing. You're not going to get high from CBD or all the other initials. You're seeing a lot of more conversations around the other little endocannabinoids that they're finding within the hemp and the marijuana plants, the cannabis plants. Because the one little thing on there, it says one of 144 known that we found. In 2019, they recognized only 60 cannabinoids. CBD happens to be one that they found early on when they were doing a lot of the science kind of on the sly, because the United States doesn't allow a lot of the research currently in the universities. There are some, but it's very, very selective and very small currently, due to the stigma that has been around social equity, because while it's federally classified as a class 1, which says it's very addictive, they're finding out that it's not addictive, it's actually beneficial. CBD is a non-psychoactive, but they do know that it does alter our moods. It helps with anxiety and depression, but it doesn't cause the disoriented confusion or the time shifts that people equate with the typical marijuana experience. Then within the other cannabinoids, CBN is another one that we've been hearing a lot about. It's known as older THC, or THC that has been heated too high in a lab, or just got old, and that causes the sedative effects. It's been known that it helps with insomnia. They also have found that some CBN in research with mice has delayed the ALS symptoms, but we haven't had any human research on that. Another cannabinoid that we know about is CBG, and that is classified as the mother of all cannabinoids because it does so many things. It's even more powerful than CBD. So you'll see that when you're out shopping. Another reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because it's overwhelming, the amount of initials and variations within each of the products. And some of them will work better for other people, and some will work better for certain situations. There's supplements galore and endocannabinoid foods. The other ones that I don't have pictured on here are, hemp seeds. That would make kind of common sense. But again, you're not going to get any kind of psychoreactive for it. It's just super high packed in protein. Flax seeds are also an endocannabinoid food. Chia seeds, walnuts, sardines, anchovies, maca root, and a lot of the fermented foods. Again, it's not something that our American diet wants to really embrace. So we're not going to see French fries and Big Macs on the list. That's that's what we need the CBD for, is to kind of balance that out. This page, we've got our little lady walking in the beautiful sunshine. CBD and some of the other endocannabinoids, these are just some of the high buckets of what kind of relief you can get. What I want to do is to help navigate the choices and the options. If you have stress, anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, you're going to want a different product per se than, if you're having allergies or migraines or pain. Each little component goes into our body into a different reason. So there's certain products that you could use during the day to help with your focus, your ADHD, your anxiety. You've got something that you're going to do that you haven't done before. You're going to want to use a different product than you would if you're having trouble staying asleep or falling asleep. And it's not like one size fit all. It's not like, well, I'm just going to get a CBD thing from the gas station and it's just going to fix everything. That's not really how it works. It also flushes through our bodies. CBD flushes out kind of like a vitamin. It doesn't stay in our system, where THC molecularly sticks to our body, and that's why people, fail drug tests. But CBD won't show up on a drug test. It's really just a really natural component that gets broken down with our enzymes in our body. And one of the myths, like I kind of alluded to, CBD will not get you high. It's, some people, I've heard people are like, oh my God, I tried the CBD. It didn't do anything for me. I was like, yes, it did. It probably did a lot for you. You just aren't gonna feel anything. So if people are expecting a feeling, that they're not going to get it from just a straight full spectrum, broad spectrum any other spectrum CBD. The THC causes the psychoactive, a high experience that people are looking for. Although I do have to say that there are products out on the market right now that could give you a sensation, kind of, I equate it to like a half a glass of wine. For some people, a full glass of wine, you're going to feel a little bit of a side effect. And for some people, they don't want that. Some people want that. Some people are looking for that just release of, I just want to feel good. I just want to be done. I want to fully relax and have a physical feeling of relaxation. But again, with my experience with, family and recovery, family that want the experience and families that don't want the experience. If you're buying something, I've got a friend of mine who thought, oh, CBD, it's going to be good for anxiety. I'm having a rough day. I'm going to go get some CBD. And she got some, and she had an experience that she was not expecting. She was too tired. She couldn't drive. She was just kind of wiped out. And those are the stories that I hear that make me frustrated for the people who are selling it. They're not asking the right questions. My goal is not to be, the dispensary for everybody, but I want to help people who want to go into either a dispensary or a store or a storefront or buy online to make sure that they're getting the right product for their situation. I know some people that have been in recovery that are staying away from it because they're afraid that it's going to set off a trigger, that they're going to want to use more product of, not of CBD, but of their drug of choice. And I would love to see them have the health benefits that could come from this without having any kind of a trigger for their situation. That's also leads me into, the addiction. CBD is not addictive. It's, again, there's zero dependent potential. There's been no evidence whatsoever, and it's been around for centuries. And there's science backing from thousands of years ago. They've seen like hieroglyphics of, the Egyptians. They've got, what they can see are like little hemp plants. I actually have a book here on my desk of medicinal plants that were planted in the gardens in Pompeii. They had them back in Italy and Europe because it worked for medical benefits. It worked for calming people down. It worked for whatever they needed it to work for. Just like dandelions help with certain things, and rosemary helps with certain things. And a lot of the foods and the herbs that we take for granted are actually very beneficial in our body. This happens to be one of them. So these are just some of the high level symptoms or problems. This slide, it's very overwhelming. Tried to make it as condensed as possible. Again, CBD, very, very, very expansive. Tinctures and oils are kind of the common ones that first got started because that's how they could reduce or remove the molecule from the full plant. They would distill it down and create into an oil. You can use those alone, put them in a drink of choice. You can put them in food. It's a very easy way of getting the component into our bodies. It's also a very safe, effective way, very controlled as far as the timeline. When it comes oils, it's a very concentrated version of it. So you need a tiny, tiny little amount. I mean, like 1-2 drops, not a full dropper, depending on, where it's made and how it's processed. The thing with tinctures and oils, you want to be careful with. Some of them are made, again, with alcohol base. Some are also made with food grade glycerin. So just, reading the labels for personal preferences. That's more the common ways. You'll see on the bottles, a lot of times they'll have labels for milligrams. That's usually the full bottle is the amount of milligrams that are in there. But again, navigating that it's a little complicated. You also see a lot of times they blend them with other flavors, or to give them more of a peppermint flavor or a citrus flavor, or I've even seen them with some crazy bacon flavor. I don't know why I wouldn't want bacon. We'll put that in your coffee. No. And then inhalation. Inhalation is probably the one that most people equate with marijuana, smoking, getting high. There's like, I could have a whole slide of all the different words. Everybody's got all their words for it, but basically it's the full flower. It's the full plant that's been processed, either, into a small bud or a big bud. Personal preference. That just means the amount of the plant itself has been processed and packaged up. A dispensary in Minnesota now allows for actual flower because it's the full thing. That one is going to actually have THC in them. You can get the ones that have the CBD. That just means that the plant grew to us, they processed the plant at the right time where the THC has not been developed yet. In the growing process, they grow very, very fast. Again, they're a weed, so they grow very fast. And if they, the word I'm looking for, process it, but harvest, when they harvest it at the right time, that's when they reduce the THC amount in there. Inhalation, you can also do like e-cigarettes or the vapes, where it's like little cartridges that have the concentrates in them. That's very, very popular. You see that a lot. Either they're pre-filled, so they're like a disposable vape, or ones that are like refillable on a rechargeable battery. This way, it's a much faster intake, but it's also a much shorter duration. So it's really good for certain pain, certain situations, anxiety, like short term. I just need it just to get me to the, go to the store. For people that have severe anxiety, they don't want to go out in public. They're stuck in their house, or they're stuck in a certain situation. This is, it's a shorter term. It's going to burn through your body a lot faster. Edibles is another very, very common. You see that all over with gummies, chocolates. I'm pretty well plugged in on the Twitter feed, and I've seen pizza and potatoes and cookies and brownies, and I've known of someone recently, a story for offline, about someone who making brownies for a friend of theirs that's dealing with cancer, and she was like, yeah, I didn't go to college for 7 years not to learn how to make brownies. This has been around, people understand it, but when you're eating it, it's going to take a little bit longer to absorb into our bodies. Our body has to process out all of the, like, what is this? And, all the yummies with the brownies. And of course, the chocolate helps with the endocannabinoid system, because it kicks it up and, just gives that second layer of benefit. But it also lasts a lot longer in our body than if we were to smoke it or vape it or, inhale it. It's also very discreet. It's really great for people who travel, if they don't want to, if they don't want to get on the plane and be wasted from drinking a half a bottle of wine at 6 o'clock in the morning, half a gummy, you kind of get into that state of relaxation, and now, that anxiety from flying can help. And then topical is the other, the other main way that we see CBD used a lot. Lotions, salves, balms, any kind of skin attachment. My really good friend has diabetes, and her feet hurt from the neuropathy. Putting the lotion on her feet calms that nerve pain down almost instantly, where other lotions that may have aspirin or some other chemicals, they get in there, but they don't really solve the problem. They just, smooth it out, and it's like, it's good for a moment, but it really isn't going in there and actually healing the nerves. My son, who was in a horrific car accident in 2020, when he came home, the doctors had given him a bucket of prescription drugs. None of them worked. he just was getting sicker and complaining. He's like, Mom, what do you got? And so I tapped into what I knew. This is before I created this business. And I would put him on, I would put the CBD lotion on his body after he came home. His bones were still healed, but he was very, very broken. And that was the only thing that would relieve any of his pain and his symptoms. Today, he is a blackjack dealer. He lives with constant pain. He flailed all of his ribs and they never were set. So his ribs grew back very disfigured, and your ribs have nerves in them. And since they do not connect, they are constantly firing. For him, CBD is the only thing that actually allows him to function. So he puts a patch on, it sits on his body and just slow dosages all day. And he's thriving, he's working, he loves life. He's at Mystic Lake. So if you're ever at Mystic Lake, you see a kid who looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, that's my baby. Go over and, let him show you how he does the card tricks. But there are so many ways to use this. And I just, my passion is to make sure that if someone's interested, you want to get the right thing for you, for your situation. And it may mean more than one thing. It may mean, trying a couple of different ways of getting it, but some work faster, some work slower, some are external, some are internal. And a lot of times you want a variation of that. Another CBD products with the ingestion. There's also tablets and capsules and gel caps. Not just eating, because some people don't want the extra calories. I use a lot of tablets for a much longer effect. They get in, they take a good 45 minutes or more to actually start getting the benefit from it, because it has to get into your stomach and digest. But then it lasts 4 to 6 hours, which is great for sleeping, or an all day power day working, trying to get the head in the game. To ingest, there's also waters. We have CBD water now. They've processed this, so it's like a can. It's bubbly water, and it's got CBD in here. I have some stories around that. My sister was having a panic attack, and I had given her this earlier, and I was like, go open up the can of water. She goes, I can't, I have to drive, I have to do this. I said, right, I understand, you're super busy, we're all busy. You're not gonna feel anything, trust me. It's not like popping a can of Truly or a beer. She did, she opened up, she goes, ooh, this smells good, it's like fruit water. And I'm like, yep, it's just fruit water. She drank it. About 20 minutes later, she sent me a text. She goes, oh my God, why didn't you tell me about this sooner? I got what I needed to get done. I feel really good without having that extra stress of life. But we see it. There's products with tea. There's coffee. I just saw a thing that Pabst Blue Ribbon is now getting into the CBD thing. So now you can get a Pabst Blue Ribbon that's been infused with CBD. That you won't want to be drinking and driving. That's not going to be a good option. But we're seeing it everywhere because people are realizing the benefit goes along with the side benefit. Again, in inhalation, this little lady, she's in pain. There was a little video, but for some reason, it's not playing, but that's okay. She just goes in and she does like a little vape, and all of a sudden she just calms down, because it shows that how fast it is that it kind of calms our systems, the pain receptions. It just kind of, it doesn't remove the pain, it just kind of calms it all down. And then topical, not just creams and pads, but bath bombs. Oh my gosh, anybody who wants to soak in a tubby, throw in a CBD bath bomb. A lot of them have other essential oils in them or other benefits in there, the Epsom salt. I mean, talk about a full relaxation moment. You just get in there and the CBD absorbs into your skin, and then it goes where your body needs it. Very therapeutic, and those are pretty popular way of absorbing CBD as well. Microdosing, layering. A lot of times you'll hear entourage effect, and that really makes this whole conversation very complicated, because with cannabinoids, they're influenced by other cannabinoids. So if you're soaking in the bath and you're drinking your CBD water, you're just going to get that extra layer upon the layer upon the layer. And because of our research, or the lack of research, we really don't know the full how this is working or why this is working. We just know it is working, and the benefits wouldn't work without each other. So it's pretty cool what our bodies can do. One thing that I wanted to point out with CBD products, and when you're buying them, I didn't put this in the slideshow, but something I thought about this morning was certificate of analysis. All CBD products that you're buying out have or should have a an analysis done in a lab showing what is in here exactly, the level of the THC versus the delta 8s and the CBGs and the CBNs and blah blah blah, all the different cannabinoids. They test for that, and then you get a list of percentage is in there. Most people don't need to know that, but for people who want that, you just have to ask for it, and it's there. So for someone that's very concerned about passing a drug test, I know some people that work in the government center, they want to use it, but they don't want to fail a drug test. Just ask for the certificate of analysis, or don't use their product if they don't have that. That's one way of vetting and making sure that you're getting a quality product. And it's becoming more used. And even when you're buying online, a lot of the companies that I work with, that's just included right on their website. This is the product, here's our certificate of analysis, this is what's in here. So we know exactly what we're getting and what we're using. All right, let's see if my little, oh no, that's what I didn't want to do, huh? Oh. All right, we'll be back. Just give me a second. The puppy wanted to act up here, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why we're loading. Well, technology, you gotta love it, right?
Yep.
Well, on to pets. I was going to talk about pets while we just load something that's not loading. I don't know if I didn't lose the internet because I'm still here, but doggies and kitty cats, they love CBD. They also have a endocannabinoid system within their body. Yeah, I just got a dark screen here. Way to go, technology. Well, it's coming. It wants to be back. This is odd. But yes, dogs and kitty cats, they benefit from this as much, if not more so than us, because they don't have the prejudged mental stigma that goes along with it. They just know that when they eat it or drink it or get it, it works really, really well. Well, but yeah, anytime there's separation anxiety, or even if you don't know that they have separation anxiety, they can benefit from it. I know a lot of dogs, probably cats too, suffer when there's storms, just because they don't, the rhythm of the planet. There's a lot of pet treats. Again, you can use the oils, like I was talking about the tinctures. You can give them a drop depending on the dog and the size of the dog and the level of anxiety. You know, a drop or two, put it right in their mouth. Best way to do it. It's going to be the fastest way absorbed. Drop it on their dog food also works. And we have a lot of products out there that are pre-packaged. So it's just, you just give them a treat, just like you would with any other treats. Plug my little laptop in, see if it gives me some kind of help. But yeah, I'm fairly allergic to cats, so I don't have a lot of cat experience other than I had cats and That's why I thought I was allergic to them. But they're super cute. And the picture that should be on here has a little kitty cat in a bag. But yeah, just to help them stay stress-free. CBD definitely reacts really well with animals. Oh,
Do you have special dosage? I heard you mention a few drops for the animals.
Yep, the dosing would be based upon, you know, the breed, the size of the animal, and then when you're buying the different products, depending on if you're getting the oils, they have different milligrams, and I always start at the lowest milligram possible and just see how it goes, because the more milligrams are per bottle, it's like you'll see like 1,000 milligrams per bottle. Well, each drop is just a few milligrams. It's not, you know, if you drank the whole thing, you would get the full 1,000. So each drop in the dropper is even smaller milligrams within that. And start small, start as little as possible, and just kind of see, did you get a benefit with one drop? Great, then that's all you need. If you didn't really see the dog calm down or, you know, be okay, you know, then you can always add a little bit more. But even with humans, I always tell them, start small. Don't use any more than you need to, for sure. Well, come on, computer. No, it's completely gone from my thing. I'm gonna stop sharing and see if I can get it to work over on the backside here. Yeah, my next slide, if my PowerPoint wants to open up, is about medical marijuana in Minnesota. It's the 5 steps to becoming certified or registered or recognized, or whatever word or terminology you want. I've done it for myself. I've started it with my daughter. So I mentioned her in the beginning, getting her into the medical marijuana community, and life changed once I got her in there, for sure. Just not gonna worry about that. So first off, the first step is having a qualifying condition. I have a whole list of them. Starts off with cancer, glaucoma, HIV, AIDS, Tourette's, ALS, IBD, Crohn's, seizures, spasms, MS, intractable or chronic pain, PTSD, sleep apnea, and autism. The one that you see the most is the intractable chronic pain, because that encompasses anything you've had more than a few days, because medical community recognizes that this actually does benefit. My daughter, she was certified with the PTSD and chronic pain. She had migraines. As long as you have any kind of diagnosis on your MyChart, you don't need anything special, because your medical history already has that in there. The only problem is you have to find a doctor that has already gone through the process in the Minnesota Department of Health to be allowed to certify people. It's not a prescription, you know, they call it a prescription, but technically it's not a prescription because it's not federally recognized as a drug. It's still classified as a controlled one substance. So they can't technically prescribe it as more of a recommendation. It's treated like a prescription. Pharmacists are the one who actually do regulate all that at the dispensaries here in Minnesota. You go in, and I've got a really good friend of mine who is a doctor that, you know, helps people get, you know, certified, and he does it telemed right now due to COVID. And I think you can see him in person, but more chances than not, it's just done over the Zoom, which works really well. Once he goes, talks to you, confirms your medical concerns, then you get certified. Then Minnesota approves it. You get a little card with a little ID. Then you make your appointment at the dispensary. There are 2 companies that are running dispensaries in Minnesota: Green Goods and Leafline. And I think we're up to 13 locations. Green Goods has more selection in products. Leafline has a smaller selection and they're more in the outskirts of the metropolitan area.
Can you type those in the chat when you get a chance?
For sure. And they are ever expanding their offerings. Everything's grown in Minnesota. One thing that I just learned recently is that Minnesota is the second largest hemp grower next to Colorado. We actually produce more hemp than any other state, which I found interesting. But back to the steps. So you go through, you figure out that you have something that you want. You can see the doctor, he gets you approved. You get approved for the state of Minnesota. You get a little ID, and then when you go to the dispensary, it's pretty straightforward. The pharmacist, anytime you try anything new, you speak with pharmacists, and they go over all the benefits, side effects, how to use it, when to use it, and then you basically just get what you want and go from there. And they have an immense variety of products, from the lotion to all the different vapes to the tablets and the capsules, and the flour, that was the newest thing. They don't have edibles yet. Those are coming later this year for people with digestive issues, because like I mentioned earlier, it's a slower intake and a longer relief. From someone who suffers from IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, since I was 17, I know that I need smaller amounts for a longer amount of time, because it's just, I have the constant pain. Okay. So that is about that medical. And then why you want to chat with me. I am connected. I am plugged into the Normal community, which is a foundation that was created, gosh, I think 50 years ago to help. It's a nonprofit that just wants to bring awareness and legality and remove the people that have been, in jail for some situations that they got into that now people are seeing as a medical benefit. So I've been recognized as a lobbyist and an advocate. I've gone through some training, so I can have good conversations around the social equity, the equality of it, bringing the awareness to the normal world. I also am a total science nerd. I love the science behind it. I'm not going to go into all the Harvard research and the research that has been done in other countries. I do want to say that the Senate passed unanimously last week that they're going to allow for research to be accepted. They're going to try to put into place some grants and some funding and some more research around this, because they are now seeing with the squeaky wheels. It's needed. We need more research, because they're seeing huge benefits in so many diseases and chronic pain. They're showing regeneration of our brain, where back when I was a kid, they were like, oh my God, you're going to smoke, you're going to kill your brain cell, you're going to be dumb as a rock. No, it actually does just the opposite. They've proven that it helps with Parkinson's, it helps with Alzheimer's, helps with dementia, memory. It actually has been clinically proven to regrow some brain cells. So the research is coming. They really need to do more of it. And I'm super excited to understand the research just enough to not know enough. So plug into that, and I have some other things. I have some other health practitioners that also embrace this. I've got some chiropractors who are embracing this. They're selling it. They don't know enough about it, but they know it works, so they recommend it. I've got naturopath doctors. So instead of talking with your traditional medical doctors, love them to death. They saved my son's life. They have a place, but they're taught from this book that was written a couple decades ago. We need to think a little forward. I wish my PowerPoint would work, because this slide is my QR code, so you can find me. But y'all can find me, so find me. We'll connect. We'll have conversation afterwards.
Hey, can you log off and log back in?
Maybe. I tried to.
You can email it to us, the PowerPoint with the QR code.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll send it out to you guys. But yeah, I've tried. I'm like, I'm not going to keep trying because for some reason it just doesn't want to be up there. But yeah, my services are, I can do single consults, individual, and I treat everybody very individually. We are not even close to being the same. And just because I have this doesn't mean this is going to work for you, even if you have the same diagnosis. We are all 100% unique individuals, and I just really treat everybody as someone separate. You may have a similar symptom, but you may want a different result, and you may need a different product than what I know, and I try to help you figure that out. I go through a full medical history with your personal cannabis experience, no cannabis experience. If you have used, if you haven't used, I don't care. I think it's great. I use it. I would like more people to embrace it. And even if it's just on the, on the discreet side, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to announce it. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, they just bought from me. No one's going to know. And then I would help you, figure out exactly what you need, create a plan, help you figure out the products. I'd love to go shopping with you again. We can do it online. I have some products. I also know a lot of the local dispensaries and those places in town. So, we can meet for coffee and go shopping. I'm good with that. Or I have a cannabis coaching package that is $420. Anybody know the reference in there? And that's 1 60 to 90 minute initial consultation, and then 4 follow-up 30-minute ongoing communications. How's it going? What do we need to do? What's next? What's next? What's next? And we just kind of go from there with endless amount of email or text support on top of, the bulk conversations. Because I'm also a certified health coach. It's not just cannabis. I love the mindset. I like the food. I like the, all the other pieces that go along with it. So this is just one piece that I find is a huge benefit to our human existence, and having a conversation around it is what I'm here for. I just want to make it normal isn't the right word. I just want to make it accessible. I want to make it I have a conversation, just something to, something to be said about talking about it, clearing up the confusion, clearing up the what, the why, and the how. But yeah, that's me. That's why I'm here. I appreciate you guys so much for listening, for, even just showing up, being curious. I was curious 10 years ago. I thought it was the devil's lettuce. Get that out of my house. No way. Not going to happen. Now, here I am telling everybody, no, it's not. It's great. Love it. Yeah, have some more. So I've been where a lot of people are. If you know anybody that's suffering, let's chat. Life is not about suffering. Life is not about, just making it through. We're here to thrive. We're here to enjoy, and we really need each other. That's my bottom line. I'm not the end all. I'm not your cure all. I'm not going to fix all your problems, but I can help make it a little bit easier and plug you into what I know, and I will learn from you as well. So thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Who has questions?
Yes, I do. I signed on a little late and I don't think, there you put it in. Or Peg Mosier, share contact information.
Oh, did you good?
Yeah.
I missed your contact information.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'm pretty Googleable. So if you get Kimberly Perrine out there, I'm out there. I'm a hot mess out there, but I'm out there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I had a question referencing the bath bombs. My daughter loves to take baths and soak when she gets a free moment with 3 kids under 4.
Yeah.
But she's nursing. So how does that affect?
It's actually very beneficial for nursing. I actually have, my daughter-in-law is also nursing. I've got a little Eugene, my grandson, he's 6 months. But CBD is actually good for the baby. The baby, breast milk actually creates its own endocannabinoids. And that's one of the things with the research so new. The soaking in a bath bomb with CBD is very beneficial for the mom. She's going to calm down, and it'll just allow for even more breast milk to be created. And there's no baby.
Awesome.
Yep. So I have done the research on that one, and if anybody needs any more, and I know a lot of times the moms they're like, no, I need to see it. I need to see it. I'm like, yes.
Is that same thing if they're pregnant?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it also depends on the trimester and where they are, and if there's other high risks, and that's definitely an offline conversation. But I know a lot of people that are very, very healthy using CBD products. It's kind of like when people are breastfeeding and they want to have one glass of wine and they just pump for a little bit, but CBD flushes out just as fast, if not faster, than alcohol processes in our body. So.
I know you said that the doctors can, it's not prescribed, but can treat going to the department through the Department of Health. So if I'm clear, it is not FDA approved, but.
Exactly. It is not FDA approved. Federal laws still have medical marijuana is listed as Schedule I drug. The House of Representatives just passed to remove it, but the Senate has yet to vote on it. So traveling with medical marijuana, if you're certified and you want to get the next level of care, traveling with it is wiggle room. I do. I'm not worried about it. But for certain people, yeah, that would be an issue until they remove it from the Schedule I directory. CBD proper is legal in all 50 states, but every state has their own limits and their laws. So again, traveling with it is a little that's a little iffy. If you just have your own personal use in your purse, nobody's going to care. It's the ones that have the trunk full that are shipping it from one state to another. Yeah, you might raise a red flag if you get pulled over. But like I said, I've even talked with the TSA people. They're like, yeah, I see you got it. I don't care. You're not hurting anybody. They see the benefit from it. Yeah, the doctors, I think that's why a lot of traditional medical doctors, they don't understand it yet, because there isn't a lot of training on it. And they're afraid of it because, again, they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. And so they're just like, yeah, you want to do it, that's on you. I'm not going to be involved. But I do have some medical doctors that do embrace it because of the benefits.
So if one were traveling from state to state and personal use, is there a website you can go to see which states, what they say?
Yep, I can send that to you too. Yeah, there's a few of them that are kind of ongoing. Normal, NORML.org usually is a really good first step space to watch for a lot of information. They're up on.
What was that again?
Yep. I'll type it in the chat.
Okay. I was writing.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, I can do this. I can share it. Normal.org. They're a nonprofit organization that I've been a member of for the last couple of years since I've tapped into this, and they have people that are out, keeping up on all the laws and all the changes and who's doing what, and each level within each state also is very subject. But yeah, CBD it is everywhere, and again, nobody's gonna stop anybody for, a little vape pen. They aren't gonna know if it's an essential oil vape pen or an e-cig or, CBD. So it's pretty safe.
Great. Any other questions for Kimberly while we have her here?
I have a quick question. Speaking of animals, I saw Suzanne, her little cat has a little limp, so does mine. So do you have recommended products or that would be good for a pet? I mean, first of all, I so appreciate this, and I'm so appreciate that you pointed out there are many different sources and many different reasons, because right, you go out, I can walk into a pet store and they have a CBD line, but how do I know that that's the right line for my cat?
Right, exactly. And there's so many variations to it. Again, I highly recommend starting with the smallest amount of whatever you get. I wouldn't buy the big bag or the big thing, get the smaller ones. I have some that I have on hand. I have some on my website that I have, and there's endless amounts that I have access to that I can't be on Amazon. So yeah, if you have any questions or if you see some, like I said, I love chatting about it. People text me things or email me. It's like, I've got this dog with this ailment or this situation, and we can figure it out. Yeah, I can help you figure out what level, but I always say start small because our receptors are super small, and that just makes sense. Why waste the money? Why waste the energy, taking in more than you need if you're just going to have an expensive pee.
Right. Great. Thanks.
Any other questions from anyone?
Oh, yes, Colleen just typed in the chat. She's used CBD oil when she had shingles. Yes, a really good friend of mine has just currently had shingles. And the first thing she did, she texted me, goes, "Oh my God, I have shingles." So created her a little essential oil thing. And then I also brought her over some gummies to do that extra layer, put some on the outside, put some on the inside, some longer. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what I would have done without it. I had shingles before I knew about CBD. Not fun. But yeah,
It's been fun either way, but it made it a little easier.
it kind of calms it down. Yeah.
And I did the bath bombs at that time too, and that helped.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, again, that layers, Mhm. Awesome. Well,
Well,
thanks.
thank you so much, Kimberly. I can tell that you have really done your research and that you're very passionate about helping people. So I just am so grateful for your time and allowing everyone to share this space with you and ask questions. I'll make sure that I send out the recording as well as everyone's contact information so that y'all can connect and network and
I'll
hopefully
send you
help each
over the
other.
PowerPoint so you can include that too, since it glitched out on me.
Perfect.
Thanks, universe. I guess you just needed more of my face. Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. If you have any questions or if there's something that I forget, feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, I will see you all next month for our Lunch and Learn in May.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Will that be
Thank you.
Carlos?
You wanna know what? I can't see my computer because my entire screen is black, so I don't remember who is in May.
What's that mean? It's the whole thing.
But I'll put it out in the
Okay.
email.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Stay warm out there.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
See you tomorrow.
Take care, guys.
So-